So, hello and welcome to the New Gig podcast. This is a very special edition of the New Gig podcast because this is a special occasion. It's the 100th episode, bit of a milestone. And when we started all those years back in terms of looking at the platform economy and the gig economy, the future of work, and since then we've had 99 guests, all taken from different areas. We've had platforms. We've had corporate representatives, we've had unions, politicians, freelancers themselves, and it has been a real mixture. And this has been something that was deliberate, really, from the beginning for me, because when I started this, it was really getting to grips with this new thing that we call the platform economy, the gig economy, the future of work. And it really was sort of the way in which technology, new applications, new mindsets were actually changing the labor markets and the world of work. Starting first, I think, in sort of the US and the UK, then moving into Europe and seeing the developments that were actually happening from all sides. Basically, from this it being something that was very new, very left field, I think we could say, through the whole of the COVID-19 pandemic, where technology came to the fore, whereby the only way that we could actually keep going and allow ourselves to work was be connected via technology and electronic platforms. And I think that this basically was the rocket fuel that turbocharged a lot of the trends and ideas were underway anyway. That we were seeing the change in the desire of companies, but also individuals, to have more freedom and flexibility. And I think that the COVID-19 epidemic merely unleashed some of the forces that were already there, made us focus more on the possibilities of remote work and technology-enabled activities. And I think also at the same time made us think that there is maybe a different way of working, that it's not a 9 to 5, 5 days a week in a specific location, that value can be added to companies and organizations and individuals by a different setup. So this was kind of the really my sort of thinking when I started this all those episodes ago, and no real plan. And I think this was one of the things I think it's important for me to underline. There was no plan in terms of what I was going to sort of try and underline or what I wanted to say. It was very much the starting point was, look, I want to learn as much as anyone else. Can we have a platform whereby we can actually allow companies, individuals, interested parties of all stripes to actually be able to sort of share their views, thoughts, ideas, worries, and be able to build up this holistic picture of what is the future of work, what's happening, why is it happening, and where's it taking us. And I think this was really sort of the starting point for everything. So there was no script, there was no plan. It was basically just invite in interesting people, people who are coming from different perspectives on this thing that we called labor markets and work in this day and age, and be able to take that forward, to be able to learn, educate, but also share hints and tips as well. I think so often there is this starting point that you want to be able to you kind of start at the end. This is the viewpoint that I want to be able to put across, and then everything works backwards in terms of the guests, the ideas, and where you take it. So I had a very sort of different starting point, a different viewpoint from doing the podcast and starting it. And I think also the breadth and depth of guests was something that was really interesting to me. And also the style was very laid back. It was something whereby individuals would be allowed to speak, and I always made it very clear with guests from the beginning, and hopefully well into the future as well, that the idea is not to catch them out. It's not to try and spring traps and surprises on them. to try and be able to get them to say specific things maybe that they don't want to. It's very much a laid back, open tone. Allow individuals themselves to speak, to, of course, ask a few questions, to be able to find out more about where they are coming from, to be able to give them the starting point, and also hopefully lead them through the journey in a very sort of mild and hopefully interesting and engaging way. But the key thing for all my guests that I have on the podcast is and has been is to allow them to speak, to share their thoughts and ideas and expertise from their perspective, so that hopefully over time we can build up a better image of what is happening in terms of labor markets and the developments in terms of open talent and the future of work, because this is something that's always in beta. All my initiatives I do in terms of business and social, it's this mentality of always in beta, so that we never come to a solution. It's basic. We're building upon the reality all the time, and only through practice we actually understand what's happening and where things are going. And I think this is really interesting from this side point from me as well. And it's really sort of trying to get the advice out there for freelancers increasingly over time, learning from freelancers themselves. What are they doing? What's working well? What's not working well? So that if there are viewers and listeners who are interested in sort of taking on either side gigs or going into a freelancer open talent model, how can they actually do it? What are the things to think about? What's to be avoided, and what should be jumped on in terms of the thoughts, ideas, and best practice? And this is something that we're going to continue doing well into the future. But one of the things that really sort of was I think stands out for me at the beginning, but this has been reinforced over time, is the fact that people aren't listening to freelancers, whether it's politicians, whether it's the media, trade unions, big organized labor. No one's listening to freelancers. And I think this is something that's very, very dangerous. This came very clear to me when we were working on the Platform Work Directive in the European context, also IR35 in the UK. That the understanding of the decision makers and the politicians was very, very limited, and they weren't speaking to the people who this actually affected. And I think this is something that now and into the future really needs to change. Listen to freelancers. What are their needs and wants? What are their worries? But also, don't really get involved where in areas that then that it's not needed. I think facilitation is crucial. I think keeping things simple in terms of rules and regulations is crucial too. But not putting in place layers and layers of bureaucracy, more and more red tape. We've seen this in sort of very many sectors for sort of business, labor markets already. Please, 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 let's not do the same thing again for freelancers. Let's allow them to have the freedom and flexibility to be able to earn money when, where, and how they want, without a myriad of troublesome, boring, and heavy rules. So this is something that's absolutely crucial. So listening to freelancers when coming up with rules, regulation, and policy which will actually affect them, I think is absolutely crucial within this in this space. And I think that for individuals themselves, what's coming very, very clear is the fact that freelancing is on the rise. Freelancing, open talent, flexibility in the labor market is absolutely crucial, both from an individual perspective. We look at the numbers, even the conservative figures. There's more and more people who are choosing the fact that they want to, if not be a freelancer full time, but at least have more freedom, flexibility over when, where, and how they earn money. So they don't want to be in an office 9 to 5, 5 days a week, stuck in one place, feeling very, very limited. They want to have more of a portfolio career. They want to do different tasks. They want it project based. They want to learn as they're going on. They want to be able to have sort of more instant feedback. The whole corporate structure of having 6 monthly or annual performance reviews is a thing of the past. It's outdated by the time it's done. It gives very little to individuals. So this constant feedback loops being able to get more information and thoughts about where we are and what we're doing is absolutely crucial. And I think that this is something that's going to grow over time. And if we look at the figures, even in a European context, the growth rates are absolutely huge. This is no longer something that's on the sidelines. This is mainstream, and the number of people in the millions already who are earning money in an atypical way means that we need to be able to embrace and facilitate this reality. And at the same time, we see from company perspectives as well that it's no longer just thinking about I want full-time employees because the talent's moving. The people because there is a skills gap and also a skills shortage, particularly in a European context. There is the need that the best talent is actually out there. It's doing its own thing. It's being more flexible. Therefore, corporates, to get the talent and expertise that they need to have a freelancer strategy. And I think that this is something we're seeing now and into the future. These changes that are going to take place, that it's having the compliance on board, it's personnel, it's legal who need to understand the realities of having a mixture of full-time employees, contractors, freelancers, part-time temps. It's going to be a mixture that needs to be brought on board, and the corporate structure of today and tomorrow needs to be set up to be able to facilitate that. And I think that us as individuals, that thinking of ourselves as brands is more important than ever before. So in terms of putting together our careers, how we actually build our profile in terms of our knowledge, the kind of projects that we actually take on, both in terms of doing it, but also how we profile this in terms of our CV, out on LinkedIn, over social media, thinking about the brands that we're putting out there. What are the skills that we're trying to be able to highlight? And this brand of one, as it's talked about, we need to be able to think of ourselves as individual corporations and how we're going about marketing ourselves, the kind of work that we're going to do, how do we bring in the contracts. And even if we work in a sort of 9 to 5 within a corporate structure, I think this kind of mentality is very, very important. And at the same time, with the roles and the image that we put out there, how we're going to go about reskilling and upskilling ourselves, how we're going to focus on our lifelong learning, investing in ourselves. This is something that we no longer can actually sort of put to the side or leave it to a company to be able to do. More and more of our focus will be on staying relevant. And now with increased technology, increased in use of new processes, that our knowledge and expertise becomes out of date very, very quickly. The half-life of our abilities is no longer something that we can go to school, go to university, and then work for 30, 40 years, get a gold watch, and then retire. We need to be constantly reassessing what value we can bring to an organization, as opposed to thinking about what role we have. And this is something that I think that it's young people, it's old people need to think of. It's boomers as well as Gen Z and millennials. And I think that the future of work is not just for young people; it's for everyone. And I think that one of the things that came out through the podcast over the previous 99 episodes has been the fact that it's not just one type of person who is a freelancer or thinking of themselves as a open talent. It's young, it's old, it's male, it's female. It's thinking about sort of different sectors. There's no one sector that this applies to. And I think that the depth and breadth of freelance guests that we've had, all the way from computer programmers to musicians, artists, healthcare professionals. It just shows that this is something that is crossing all sectors and is something that's relevant for every discipline and every occupation. And I think the increased use of technology and the increased desire for flexibility is something that won't go away anytime soon. And I think this is really a key part of economic growth as well for politicians to think of, to get people into the workforce, to allow people to be able to earn money in more flexible ways. I think this is something that needs to be thought of more broadly now, but also into the future. How to bring on board the open talent, make sure they feel part of the system, not left out in any shape or form. And I think also we talk a lot about DEI, diversity, inclusion issues. And I think that this freedom to work when, where, and how you want is really a part of diversity in the workplace of today. It's not just about sexuality or gender. It's very much this ability to be able to get in, because we see more and more of the people that I'm speaking to maybe have an issue about being in an office. Could be in terms of psychologically, they don't work well there. Individuals who have different requirements. They've got children. They may be looking after relatives, so they can't be one place 9 to 5, 5 days a week as well. And also, it's the fact that we've got sort of people with illnesses, psychological illnesses as well, and also physical issues that they can't be able to sort of get to an office to be able to do work, but they need to be able to earn money, and they've got a lot of value that they can actually give. So I think we should need to be thinking a bit more broadly from a diversity perspective as well about the freedom to work when, where, and how you want is absolutely crucial. And we've heard a lot about sort of remote work and quiet quitting. I think this is something that is overblown. I think people want to work. They want to be able to have an impact. And I think that, into the future, allowing them to be able to do this and get the best out of individuals, because at the end of the day, we are individuals. We've got different ways of working, either culturally or very personally. When we think about these kind of things, we need to get the most out of them as an employer. It's our self-interest to be able to benefit from individuals and what their specific talents, skills, and knowledge is, but be able to put the right framework in place for them to be able to deliver to the best of their abilities. And I think that we see more and more the discussions about the increased use of technology and AI. Very interesting from recent studies saying that people are very scared by it, think it's going to put them out of a job. I think this is the wrong approach to be having in the first place. I think the fact is that more jobs will be created than will be actually lost. But of course, there will be some displacement. But saying that technology is bad because it might put a few people out of work temporarily is like saying we shouldn't invent medicine because it's going to put grave diggers out of a job. Absolute nonsense. We need to be able to sort of move forward and be able to wrap our arms around the technology and the services, the applications that are there, and make the most of them and integrate with them so that we can actually benefit ourselves. When we're more integrated and know how to use the technology and the applications that are there, I think we ourselves will have more value that we'll be able to put forward. And I think that we will be able to sort of think about the roles that we can have and the companies and organizations that we can partner with. So I think it's getting the mindset right that this isn't a threat, but this is something that we need to learn about, and something that we need to be able to be in sync with to be able to give our best side of ourselves. So AI is the future. It's something we're going to be utilized more and more. And I think that the more people I speak to in terms of using this for content creation, whether it's ChatGPT, Midjourney, all the sort of possibilities for text to video, the possibilities really are endless, and we're just getting started on that. So I think that being outside of that basically cuts us off. So we need to sort of get in, learn about what's happening, and be able to put things forward as well, particularly given the sort of the labor shortages that exist today. I think if we can bring on more knowledge and expertise and make ourselves valuable to potential partners, employers, I think it's only a good thing for us, and it's something that's only going to build our brand and build our profile and our money earning possibilities now and well into the future. And I think that also as people get more remote, I think it's an important part of branding for countries, cities, and locations. We see a lot of money being put into inward investment and also tourism to attract people. But I think they're missing a trick, a lot of locations, in terms of thinking about open talent, whether it's digital nomads or individuals who want to spend a period of time in a different city working electronically. I think there is a real opportunity for attractive locations to be able to put in place, whether it's the tax or facilitation in terms of living and working. We see a few of these digital nomad visas that have been rolled out, but they don't really give a lot to individuals. I think there's more of a need to be able to create a more welcoming environment for individuals who will be able to be there for a matter of weeks or in a matter of months in certain cases. So be attractive for that, I think, is something that we need to think about. But so much more of this is actually we talk about the future of work, but so much of this is actually the now of work. We've gone beyond thinking about this and sort of crystal balling about what's coming down the pipe. This is something that's happening now, and I think there's a lot of myths that we need to be able to bust within this. I think the first one is the fact that the future of work and the platform economy is just for low skilled talent that can't actually find a job elsewhere. Absolute nonsense. Well, the reality is that this is everyone from high skilled architects and lawyers to healthcare professionals, computer programmers who are part of this. They're actually earning more money by being a freelancer or an independent than there would be if they're working for a corporate entity. And also at the same time, they have more flexibility and freedom to choose when, where, and how they work. So it's the benefits of both sides. So I think busting this myth about the fact it's just for low skilled workers and people losing out is definitely something that we need to be able to get beyond. And I think at the same time, this idea of we've seen certain influencers on TikTok and Instagram who call themselves freelancers and they work 3 days a week from a beach in Bali, is the impression that they're giving across, and that's the future of work. That is complete fallacy. I mean, there's no way to get around the fact that you're going to work hard. Whatever you do in life, 9 to 5, or as a freelancer, as an influencer, you work very, very hard. You're going to put in the hours. You're going to have to sacrifice certain things to be able to succeed. So the idea that this is a shortcut and you'll be able to put in less effort and get more out of it is a complete and utter lie and should be forgotten immediately by anyone who's tempted into this lifestyle or this work style for those reasons. And I think as we look more to the future, we actually have our study, the Future Work Study 2024, coming out on the 17th of September, so a matter of days now. And this is looking at flexible workforces, AI, and also the future of management and how this is going to look in the future, because the world of work is changing and therefore management has to change as well. So it's no longer the military top down. I'm the boss. I decide what you do. If I say jump, all the underlings say how high. It's much more of an open, textured, networked relationship, less direct reports, more dotted lines, more broader ecosystems that individuals have to interact with, and also more tailored advice for individuals. Going back to what I was saying before, we're coming into an age where it's more of the brand of one, even within organizations. Leadership styles will have to change as well. It's no longer going to be one size fits all. We're going to have more and more of a leadership style which is tailored to the individuals themselves, irrespective of employment contracts. So we're not going to have full-time employees at the top of the pyramid and then the contractors at the bottom. They'll be involved maybe on a project basis, time specific, ad hoc, laser focused in terms of the skills that they can bring and the project they can actually deliver. And I think that's something that we're going to see more and more of over time. And I think it's also interesting to really understand that, as I said before, that we're integrating with the technology. This is going to something that's going to happen more and more now and into the future. And also the fact that remote work is here to stay. So the fact that people will think that after COVID, this return to the office, and a lot of high-profile leaders and bosses who should know better were calling on this. Sadly, very short-sighted. It's not going to happen, and to secure the best talent, it's going to have to be more of a remote, hybrid way of working, and more accept more open talent, and also accept that fractional roles as well. So that we're not going to just have that I sell my hours to one employer. My knowledge and expertise, I'm going to play around the field with several actors. It's not going to be a problem. I'm going to actually learn in this project here and sell these knowledge and expertise to you. So if you're taking me on board for a project, you'll actually gain and benefit from the other work that I've been doing, as opposed to trying to suck me into one organism. Over time, it's going to be much more valuable, and this is going to be accepted in a corporate setting as well. And I think that also this element of talent clouds, we're going to have much more of people are going to sit in their own spheres. There's going to be pre-vetted talent because companies and organizations will want to bring on board talent that they know that can deliver from the get-go. They won't want to have to train them up. They want to know what they're getting, and they're going to rely on third parties with its platforms or elastic teams to be able to deliver the value that they require instantly when they want it, where they want it. So that's going to be a sort of a desire for this curation, which is going to come out more from a third party perspective. And also, we need the right regulatory framework. I've been quite critical of this in the past in the European setting. Regulators don't really understand what's happening in the future of work, who have a very 1940s view of the labor market, actually casting their vote and actually deciding on what the regulation and policy should be. This needs to change. This goes back to my previous point about listening to freelancers, but having a proper regulatory framework in place that actually helps and supports and facilitates freelancers. The best thing that can be done in most cases is just to step back, get all the red tape out of there, get rid of the bureaucracy, and let people get on with it. There's this innate desire for most politicians to actually meddle and think they know what they're talking about to justify their existence. The viewpoint should be the other way around. Get out of there and let the talent and the innovators and the entrepreneurs get on with it, and get out of the way. So that's a call to the politicians. And I think that's going to be crucial to harnessing the future of work as well, and making sure that we're in the best place to be able to benefit from it, particularly when we're talking about competitiveness. Mr. Draghi just came out with his report in the European context on competitiveness just this week in September, and of course it lays out the Herculean task that Europe has to be able to innovate and be competitive, particularly for itself, but also vis-a-vis the US and many Asian countries. Europe's slipping backwards, and I think a key part of that is embracing the future of work and putting the right policy in place to stop Europe backsliding on competitiveness, but also turning out to be just a very pretty museum for tourists to visit, as opposed to manufacturing, coming up with innovation products and services that the world needs. So this is an acute problem, and something I think that by having that light touch regulatory approach is something that's going to be able to facilitate. So I think that one of the things for me probably to end on in this 100th podcast episode, as I give my monologue, is the fact that people are very often ask me, well, how can we future-proof ourselves? How can we actually flourish in the future of work? There's more technology coming out all over the place. How will I know if I'll have a job in 5 years' time? And the response I often give to this is based on the fact: get up to speed with the latest technology, know how to actually use it to your advantage. So be aligned with the technology as opposed to fighting against it is absolutely crucial. I think the second thing is also being a person who works on their soft skills. Doing well what machines do badly. So now in an age where knowledge and facts are almost free and can be accessed at the touch of a button, we need to be able to have that analysis to interpret what's actually happening, but also that human feeling and also how we interact with individuals. In the same way that the automobile didn't kill off the horse, I think technology is not gonna kill off human empathy and the importance of face-to-face contact, actually meeting up with individuals. The personal relationships are going to be more important than ever before, and I think it's crucial that we actually understand that and make the most out of it. And for me, the third part of this is also this always be in beta and also be flexible. I think this ability to pivot and to actually sniff the wind and understand what's happening and be able to adapt and be flexible towards it is something that's absolutely crucial. Maybe it's not something that's being taught in schools at the moment. It's very much we've got a very old-fashioned education system, which really needs to be able to catch up to the reality of the skills that are needed for the labor market and the competitive landscape of today and tomorrow. But I think this ability to be flexible, to be able to pivot, utilize what you've got, be able to position it towards the future, and be able to develop, I think is something that's absolutely crucial. And that I don't think that's going to be something that's going to change any time soon. But of course, in the future, we can revisit that, and you can say if I was right, wrong, or be able to reassess. But this is the honest viewpoints as we have now. We need to change, be able to adapt our views to the realities, and I'm sure that mine, like most things, will change in line with the reality. But as a parting shot, I'd like to thank you all for listening, for subscribing, for following this journey, but hopefully listening and learning and educating yourselves as well about what is the future of work, how to be able to benefit from it, be able to develop your competence, and also pick through the maze of technology, jobs, work, and employment now and well into the future. And really appreciate your support, your feedback. And to all my guests and as well as the listeners, thanks for the time. Thanks for being so open with your time, so generous with your ability to share what you think in a very frank and open way. And look forward to the next 100 episodes.